Second question. What percent of students are between 21 and 27 years old? We want to know the percent of students that are between 21 and 27. Again, we need to go to our circle graph. Okay, let's see. This one's 25 to 27, over 27, under 18, 18 to 20, and 21 to 24. So we actually have, this is 21 to 24, which is 33%. And this one's from 25 to 27, which is 10%. And we want between 21 and 27. So that represents this age group as well as this one. So we're going to have to do what with these two values? If we want the total amount between 21 and 27, we're going to have to do what with 33 and 10%? Okay, right, we're going to have to put them together, which means we want to add them. So we're going to get 33% plus 10%, which gives us a total of 43% as our answer. What percent of students are between 21 and 27? There were two different age groups mentioned that was divided up, and it turns out to be 43%. Okay, our second example that we're going to look at. And the second example is what percent are 25 or older? We want to know the percent that are 25 or older. So we're going to have to go to our graph again. And let's see, this is 21 to 24, so that isn't, they're not 25 there. 18 to 20, that doesn't work. Under age 18 is not going to work. Over age 27, is 27 older than 25? Yeah, so we're going to have to include this one. And age 25 to 27 is older than 25, so we include this one. So it's going to be the combination of these two. So the answer, what percent are 25 or older, are going to be 7% plus 10%. Let's check and make sure we got these right. The over 27 was 7%, 25 to 27 was 10%, so 7 plus 10% makes 17%. Okay, so there's 17% that are 25 or older. Okay. Let's look at our next example. It says, how many students are under age 18? Now, in this problem, they're not actually asking for what the percent is. They want to know how many. So that means we're going to a percent problem. We need the percent, we need the base, and we need the amount. Okay, how many students are under age 18? Well, according to this circle graph, what's the percent under 18? Okay, the percent under 18 is 6%. So that means my percent is 6%. My base is my total amount. Remember, base was my total amount, what I started with. I want the percent of students. How many students means the percent of students are under age 18. So that means how many students are there? What's the total number of students? Well, that comes from this. It said there were 5,000 students on campus. So that means my base must be 5,000. My amount, that's what I'm looking for. That's the one I don't know. So set up our proportion. We have amount over base is equal to the percent over 100. Cross multiplies, or wait a minute, we got to fill in the blanks, don't we? The amount is what we're looking for. The base was 5,000. The percent was 6 over 100. Cross multiply, 100x is equal to 5,000 times 6. So 100x is equal to 5,000 times 6 is 30,000. So we want to divide both sides by 100, and x turns out to be 30,000 divided by 100 turns out to be 300. It comes out to be 300. So that means with our question that there are 300 students under age 18. There are 300 students under age 18. That's what we were looking for. So with the circle graph, we may be looking for a percent, but we may actually be finding how many, and we use the percent that's given on the circle graph to do the problem. We can use the percent that's on the circle graph to do the problem. Okay? Questions about circle graph, then you need to go and ask somebody for some help if you still got a question. This type of graph we're going to look at, picture graph that we're going to look like, is called a histogram. And each bar in the histogram represents a range in numbers. Notice that this bar here represents from 0 to 10. This one represents from 10 to 20. This one represents from 20 to 30. Okay, so each one represents a range in numbers, and it's called a class interval. It's called a class interval. The height of each bar represents the number of occurrences of the data in each class interval. Okay. The class interval is also called the width. In other words, the difference here is called the width. Okay, the difference there is called the width of our interval. Okay. So what is the width in this one? The width of each one of these is 10 minus 0 is 10, 20 minus 10 is 10, 30 minus 20 is 10, 40 minus 30. And these intervals must all be the same. We have to have each one of these intervals the same. So we divide them up and they become an interval. And each one of those intervals are the same. We could have divided it up differently and went from 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25, 25 to 30, 30 to 35. But each one of them, we couldn't have some of these broke up in 5s and the rest broken up in 10s. They must have the exact same width all the way across. Each one of these bars have to be represented by the same amount of width. Now remember, with the bar graph, they weren't connected. Okay, with the bar graph, they weren't connected. Let's look back at the bar graph for a second and notice that what we had was, for each unit, there was a space between them. Okay, these represented two different things, but between each of the bars, there actually was a space. With a histogram, there is no space. With a histogram, there is no space. Now, this particular histogram represents the dollar amount that 153 customers spent at a department store. This particular histogram represents the dollar amount that 153 customers spent at a department store. Okay, this histogram represents the dollar amount that 153 customers spent at a department store. Now we're going to be using this histogram to answer particular questions about it. Okay, the first question we're going to ask about this histogram is, we want to know how many customers made purchases between $20 and $30. We want to know how many customers made purchases between $20 and $30. So what we're going to do is go to the histogram and find down here, notice this is the range of our money. Here is the number of customers. Notice it's marked, the number of customers, and this is the amount spent. This is the amount spent. So we want between, again, the question said, how many customers made purchases between $20 and $30? So we want to find the bar that represents the 20 to 30. So it's this bar right here. So we're going to need to go to the top and go over how many customers spent that amount. When we go over, we see 36. So the answer to the first question, how many customers made purchases between $20 and $30? The answer is 36 customers. Okay, 36 customers made purchases between $20 and $30. And we did that again by looking between 20 and 30. This is the interval between 20 and 30. And we go to the top and measure it across to the side. And there were 36.